Hello, so how we doing? Obviously I'm docked at TAC. If you take a look at the map, I took off from Alphaville, flew up here and docked. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to undock, have to use some side thrust on the starboard side to push my slope, my track between the two, because I actually plan to land after shooting the ILS from Oliver to Parks by State there. So let's undock. I've got I didn't load any passengers yet. That's the whole reason for coming up here. Waivers 0 + 6. Yes, I'm loading colonists, not passengers. Laborers 1 + 1 + 20. Actually, let's see if there's anybody who wants to go there to pay me to take them from TAC to OuterD. One person. Not worth giving up a whole cargo bay for that one person. Laborers 2 + 20. Laborers 3 + 20. 4 + 20. Okay. Oh, looks like I have a lap child sitting on one of their parents' laps also. Okay, let's undock. Shift D to undock. Turn back to my normal navigation screen. Turn off TVM. And set my waypoint to Oliver. Oliver. I went past it. Orbit Oliver. Okay, let's change to Oliver. I like to have my wings relatively level to the planet. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to push myself down with some down thrust here. Yes, I'm only supposed to go 250 meters per second inside TAC's control bubble, and as I'm pulling away from the station, I'm nosing up so that I keep getting down thrust. But you see, I have no way of telling my closure rate on there unless I go into TVM, which would be very counterproductive because that would try and stop me. Looks like I'm not going to have to put much side thrust in at all. I'm actually have to put a little port thrust in. Okay. I'm accelerating away from the station. Once again, I have no way to know what closure speed, so I'm just going full bore. Eventually we will have some kind, instead of being TVM closed, we'll just have flat out closure rate there, so I know, so I have a way of knowing what my speed is. Even if I went to TAC, I wouldn't know the closure rate because I don't have TVM active. Okay, let's put some port thrust in because the direction bug, even though it's yellow, is to my left hand side, and I want to push that to the right. So that means I'm putting port thrust in, which is a positive lateral G, which will bring the heading bug that way. Not going to take much. If I was not concerned, I'm sorry, if I was concerned about fuel, I could have gone completely around the planet and used a lot less fuel for this re-entry, but since I don't care about fuel because I've got more than enough for this trip, I'm going to bring myself to a complete stop. You'll see I'm thrusting away from the station. I'm slowing down compared to the station. I'm going to come to a complete stop and then start back that way. And when I get to about 1,000 kilometers away from it, I'm going to use the reverse thrust to make it so that I don't hit the planet's atmosphere at orbital speed, because I have enough time to get to orbital speed this light. Well, I would anyways. You notice that the estimated time en route is going up because I am slowing down, which is confusing.
Passing sound barrier.
Now I'm just going to let myself fall until I get somewhere around 2 kilometers a second going down, because I don't like falling faster than that ever. Just bad juju. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep thrusting until I see my AP. Instead of saying surface, I'm going to get to somewhere around 120, 130, and then I'm going to just idle until I get down there. I will probably have to use some F9 thrust, some up thrust, to keep myself from going down faster than 2 kilometers. I'll probably stop it since I've got so far to go. I may just
Passing sound
holding
barrier.
myself at 1.5 kilometers down. Let's get down there a little faster. We'll get somewhere between 1.5 and 2. Let's think about 1.7 this time. Yeah, that's a good number today. The plan for these people is actually to get them to, if I zoom in, there we go. I'm actually going to take them to the town hall, but the easiest way to get them there is to fly to Oliver, start the approach. Once I get down underneath air traffic control before I get to that ring there, I will then set the waypoint to take me to the town over there. And ooh, I'm going down faster than 1.7. So let's up thrust. You'll notice that I have the up thrust locked. Let's shut the up thrust off. not very interesting right now, just if you do it right, it's a boring flight. Let's put some more up thrusts, keep me between right around 1.7 going down. As I get down closer to about 300 meters, I will then, I'm sorry, 300 kilometers, I will think about decreasing that if I don't have an AP that's somewhere in the 90 range. I got about another kilometer per second to accelerate before I start seeing any AP action. A little bit more port thrust. Yeah, the thrusters on the port side. Pushing me starboard. Trying to keep that direction of travel bug lined up with the target bug. I should start seeing some AP action here. Okay, let's just go. There we go. Keep accelerating and okay, shut the main engines off and put them in reverse. Using some lateral thrust to keep my nose, my track lined up with my nose, and my nose is lined up with Oliver's outer marker. Isn't this fun? And now we're just coasting again. Sir Isaac Newton is in the driver's seat to quote several movies actually. And you'll notice I am heading back. And instead of being lined up with Alphaville, I'm lining up with OuterD, because I want more workers there. If I zoom in and show you, come on, Townhall, command, there are 891 laborers assigned there, and that means that they are only making 1 metric ton of consumer, 4 of fab, and 10 of fuel. I'm going to put 120 people there, which will probably give me 80 workers, which will then bump those up a little bit, maybe almost an extra 10%, which means I can slide the aqueous fuel down a little bit. I don't care about the thunderstorms approaching National Weather Service. Yay, there's a severe thunderstorm close to me. Obviously I'm applying lateral thrust now to keep the track lined up with Oliver. When this gets down to about 1,100, 1,200, somewhere in that neighborhood. I'll put into full reverse thrust to try and slow down. I may put a little bit in earlier to try and circularize my orbit once I get down to close to this 137, because I really want to get down to 120 with both AP and AA somewhere in the 120s. But I may not get down there soon enough to really circularize before I'm committing to re-entry. And I want to adjust my trim axis a little bit here to get the trim to be a positive 15, because when you're coming into the atmosphere, having the trim all the way up is useful. And yes, I'm using an axis on my joystick, and it's just barely set to trim up so that I don't turn the autopilot off while the trim gets kind of locked up into the up position. Okay, let's go full reverse and kind of circularize this orbit. You'll notice how fast the AA is dropping and the AP is not really dropping. I may actually have to put a little downward thrust to keep myself from flying up again. So let's put some down thrust in. Okay, let's just let the mains do the work. We're flying over, let's see where we're flying over, because we're flying over somebody's place. Oh, we're flying over Floraville. Ah, that's, Flora's place. Well, 200 kilometers away from it. And 130, that's up, so, you know. And I let myself run the engines too long at, in reverse while seeing where we were flying over. Okay. Now let's go back to reverse thrust. And I'm going to use the small thrusters, the home key or end key. Well, actually, it's the home key to slow down, end key to give yourself just a little RCS thrust. Little up thrust to circularize some more. $117, 120, 22. Let's make that like 125 maybe. A little slower. Touch of up thrust. And we have our AP and AA within the 120s, which is where I wanted. And we're almost to the point where I need to be going full reverse. See? Life is good.
Cabin pressure.
Yeah, I know cabin pressure because I'm repressurizing to the pressure of Deois. And re-entry. I probably could have waited until 1,000 since I'm so light, but I am flying under ATC, so I actually want to make sure I get down early, if that makes sense. It probably doesn't, but that's okay. Pardon me. Yes, I'm drinking water. Let's line the nose up straight and put a little lateral thrusters in. If I was flying to Alphaville, where if I come in really at a steep angle and don't have to worry about air traffic control, I probably would have waited to 900, maybe 1,000 before going to reverse thrust. But I really have to be shallow to get underneath. Take a look. I'm going to be coming in. Out here is where they start talking to you. Here you have to be talking to them or you have to be under them. And when you get to here, when you get to that ring, you can't even fly basically unless you're really down low. Okay, let's lower the nose down to 15 down. And I'm putting some up thrust in now to try and keep my angle down at 15 degrees. We're flying over Honor's place, just close to it. You can see his Manx sitting on the ground. Let's zoom all the way out, and you can see I'm going to be flying right over him. Get back to my normal view. Okay, I can even decrease my angle of approach here a little. Since I've shallowed out a little bit, I'm gonna just reduce my thrust. Reduce this, change to nav, keep it in pitch. Realistically, I'm not going to be flying yet, but getting close. Once I'm really close to, okay, at half a G, you can pretty much fly, so I can turn my engines back forward. Because I'm basically flying. I can shut off that alarm about nose trim being up. I can set my trim axis back to the center. And just let the auto flight control it from here. if you're coming in really fast, having the nose pre-trimmed all the way up will cause you to kind of skip up a little bit and help you not die. That's why I tend to set my trim to nose up. It's not required, it's not necessary. It just makes it so if you're coming in and do something, oh look, something stupid I can do. Let's hit the atmosphere at 2 kilometers a second versus only 1 kilometer a second. It helps to generate lift earlier and helps to pitch your nose up sooner so that you don't dig into the atmosphere. I hope that makes sense. And yes, I've put some thrust into the engine. Looks like I got about 17% right now. Just because I don't need to be slowing down as much as I am. Yes, I'm slowing down, but I want to actually try and keep a little bit of altitude here because I don't want it to take forever while I'm uploading this video and while you're watching this video, so I'm gonna wait until keep it about 25 kilometers here. That'd be a good altitude to fly at, like an airplane. Then when I get to this bug here being right about there versus there, then I will start down. Let's keep myself supersonic. If we take a look, I am really close to flying over Honor's place, the Soviet Union, as he calls it, Sverdlovsk Airport. I'm flying close enough that if I stay supersonic and anybody was hiding down there, they'd hear me go over, go with the thump thump. Well, thump. If he has a car down there, it'll set off his burglar alarm. Just think, I'm dragging a wake of supersonic chaos behind me, so let's zoom out. Dragging it back kind of like an angle like that. So when we get about there, he will all of a sudden, any cars that he has sitting, he doesn't have any cars sitting there. Pooey. Where are you going? You're gonna... Oh good, he's going to Alphaville, so I won't be having to worry about him trying to land at the same place I am. Pardon me. Yeah, I should have stayed up a little higher, a little longer. I'm sorry. I just don't want to get some air traffic control yelling at me for unidentified aircraft. That's 10,000 credits per time they say that. Well, when you pay the fine, that's what it is. Almost the point where I'm going to starting down. That's maybe just about 10 degrees there. Probably closer to 9. Okay, there's the 10 that I was gonna hold out for. I can probably push to about 12 degrees down, since I can actually go down at 15 without having to get too creative. I know I'm doing stupid things, aren't I? It's my family motto. Oh, look, something stupid I can do. Yeah, I should start down. Pull some of this throttle out. Yep, I'm gonna start going to transonic, so I need to really slow down so that it doesn't squawk at me for the overspeed.
Passing sound barrier.
There we go. Actually, I can probably cut the ILS out completely just by changing. Oh, hang on. My wife's calling. Hello, Mary Carol. I will talk to you when I get home. I am just about done recording a video. Sounds yummy. Okay, bye. Okay. Yes, I'm going to change to heading. Change to OuterD Township. Change to nav. And now I definitely need to get down, because I don't really have a marker for when I'm going to be crossing the border until I get to that blue line and go, oh dear. Well, blue circle. I want to be at 500 meters MSL when I get to that blue circle. And then I want to rapidly get down to 300 so that they don't see me. I can put a little throttle back in to keep my speed up. I knew it was going to be flying into the garbage. What is the official verdict for weather? Overcast 19. Okay. Let's see, we're at 7 kilometers. We need to get down to 500 meters. I probably should have stuck with my original plan to fly to Oliver. But you know, oh look, something stupid I can do. Let's take a little bit of oomph out of the engine so we fall a little bit faster. Well, we fall at the same rate, but we don't travel across the ground quite as fast, so the angle's steeper. You'll notice we're still falling at about the same rate, but the speed went from 106, I think it was, down to 96, so we've lost 10 meters a second. I probably should have checked the weather before I decided to change to just flying straight to the, town. We'll find out how bad it really is at the town when we get there. Still 2 kilometers to go down in 20 kilometers. I'm not gonna make it, am I? Let's turn the autopilot off and decrease the nose angle a little bit and do a suicidal approach. Yeah, let's just dive at the ground, Bill. Everybody loves it when you do dumb things. Okay, from here, let's...
Pull up. Sync rate. Sync rate.
Set that to 300.
Sync rate.
Oh,
Pull
shush.
Pull
Landing
up.
gear, lights.
Pull up. Down and locked. Pull up. Sync rate.
I think I can see sky and ground. Yeah. So we're... yeah, we have fair visibility.
Deois 8 is Juliet is now available. Wind 160 at 141.
No idea how much
Visibility
that's
2,
fast. I was like, how the blank are they seeing
1800
at
overcast.
290 meters?
Temperature 26. Viewpoint 10. Altimeter 2519
Not as bad as I thought it was. There is a plane that's either taking off or landing. Let's see. Portal. Why don't I show you moving? Because you probably haven't actually started moving, have you? Let's see. Who are you? Who are you? You want us 66 11 19 11 9. That's the one that goes to and from what you call it, Lancaster. So they're just powering up, I'm thinking. I haven't actually started moving yet. Let's actually scan him to make sure that that is the plane that I think it is. Shift scan. Lancaster cargo, okay. That is food from and to and from Lancaster to here. So they are probably just starting that up. They should be taking off in a little bit. They will travel. They're moving. There they are. I don't want to roll. I want it to be on nav. That Lancaster cargo is going to fly along here and then up there and kind of along there and then take off towards Lancaster once he gets outside of this ring here. Let's see if we can see him. I do see a dot. Let's put the binoculars on. Binoculars. Use. I don't see him. There he is. Okay, change to AGL mode. Oh, press the right button. AGL mode. And let's take me down to about 100 meters AGL. That blue building is where I'm going to be landing next
500.
to. Engines to idle. Up thrust, TVM.
Minimums. Minimums. 100. 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay. I can unload passengers if I wanted to. Well, slave labor. Well, they technically aren't, but colonists. Turn off my landing lights. Colonist. General. 0 minus 6. 1 minus 20. 2 minus 21 because of the lap child. 3 minus... Hey! Don't have 230 people in there. And 6 minus 20. Okay, now let's see how many people are actually at the town here. Command. That's right, it doesn't show it for like an hour until it decides to update. Oh well. Let's see if I can force it. Nope. The residents went up, but the labor sign didn't. The National Weather Service. That's south of me. Well, I shall talk to you all later. If you need anything else, you know where to find me. I'll be in game.